Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I am going to show you how to get started using databases with Go, using Go's standard library. First off, what you can see here is that I have spun up a Postgres database using Docker on my local machine. I am using port binding so I can communicate with Postgres using port 5432. I have also populated the database with a sample DVD rental dataset. The database has several tables, one of which is the actor table which has 200 rows. Now back to our Go project. First thing you will need to do is create a mod file using the command go mod init, followed by the name of your project. In my case I called it db with Go. Next, Go's standard database library does not come with any third-party SQL drivers, so what we will have to do is go out and download one. Within the standard library documentation, there is a link to a list of third-party SQL drivers. In our case we will be using the first Postgres driver PQ. To install the driver, we will follow the installation instructions from the PQ documentation like so. After this is done, you will notice that the PQ driver is located within your project's mod and checksum files. Next, using Go's standard library is quite easy. First you want to provide the SQL.open function with two arguments. The first argument is the driver's name, which is Postgres, and the second is the database connection string. Within the PQ documentation, there are two different connection string formats. I will be using the URL format. After that, you are pretty much good to go. Let me show you how to query the number of rows in the actors table which I showed previously. Since I know my query will only return a single row, I will use the query row function and immediately scan the results into my variable number of actors and print out the results. Let's go ahead and run this to see what happens. As you can see, 200 is printed to my terminal, which is what we expected. Alright, this is well and good, but if you are using Go as part of a web application backend, you don't want to be opening new database connections each time you want to communicate with your database. Instead, what we want to do is move our database function to its own module. In our case we will call it PostgresDB. Next, we will declare an exported global variable within our package called PostgresCon and encapsulate our code in a function called createConnection. We will add one additional line to assign the DB variable to our previously declared global variable. If you don't like using global exportable variables, you can also create a function called getDBConnection, which simply returns the global variable. If you come from another statically typed programming language, then this might feel more natural for you. However, if you want to use this approach, I suggest you scope the global variable to your module by not capitalizing the variable name here. In Go this means that the variable is not exportable and cannot be called outside of the PostgresDB module. I will be using the exported global variable option, so I will leave the first letter capitalized. After that is all set up, we will head back to our package main and import our PostgresDB module and execute the createConnection function. Now we can use our database connection by simply importing the PostgresCon variable from our DB library. One important note about Go's standard database library is that it takes care of all connection pooling behind the scenes, so anytime you need a new connection to communicate with your database, you can simply import our DB connection variable. Alright, that should get you started with using databases with Go. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.